Alrighty, in today's video we're going to focus on the flow of the map, and this is one of the least talked about things when it comes to tips and tricks videos, and I think that's because it's a very tricky topic to talk about, and that is because it's very hard to explain how you navigate the map based off where your teammates located, the specific map, what weapon you're using. There's a lot of variables that go into actually navigating around the map, and I'm going to focus on about half of the maps in this particular video. If you do enjoy the video anyway, please remember to hit that like button. If you can get this video over 1,000 likes, I'm going to go ahead and work on the second video that covers the other maps, and probably a third that works on all the power positions or the areas that you want to control on pretty much every single map. And if for some reason you do want to find your way back to the channel, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on. You can double check that by making sure that red subscribe button is turned to gray. So if you log into the Call of Duty app, you're going to be able to look at the different maps, and you can actually see the different heat signatures, and it'll say deaths, kills, kill death ratio, my kill death ratio, my kills, my deaths. You can kind of look at an overhead view of pretty much every map in the game as long as you've played it. So I explained this portion because we're going to go ahead and kind of run through a few of the other maps, and I want to go ahead and kind of set it up for you exactly what I did so you can replicate this yourself in case you do not want to wait on another video, or maybe this video doesn't hit 1,000 likes. The other thing you got to understand for each of the maps is the actual spawn. So we have a good idea that the spawns are pretty much like this. All these shaded red areas are generally where people will spawn. There is a trailer one I left out. That was because this is before the spawns change. But this just gives you kind of an idea of what we're looking at. So once we've gone ahead and taken the information from that first image and combined it with the second, we get a third image. So when we look at that image, we can see that these blue boxed out areas, the dark blue areas, are where people will generally spawn. You can also see where the deaths are happening with those little heat signatures on the map. And you can see they're kind of scattered around all towards the middle and the bottom section of the map. And then you can see this blue dotted line that I kind of made up that kind of shows you where you're least likely to die. Not to say that you're not going to die going through that area, but that is typically the route you're going to want to travel back and forth because that is the least likely area to die. Most of the maps, and almost all the cases, you're going to see a ton of deaths in the middle of the map, and that's why it's very smart to avoid the middle of the map. And there are a few exceptions to that, which we'll go ahead and get to, and then I'll go ahead and probably expand on that because that'll be related to the power position video. Keep in mind that these are just general ideas when you're actually navigating the map. I'm not going to say only stay on that little dotted line because that's not very smart either. You got to kind of adjust to what's going on in the map, but keep aware of where these hotspots are because that is where you're more than likely going to die. Obviously, we're looking at firing range. There's a little Jeep in the middle. I would never recommend standing next to that Jeep unless maybe you're capturing the objective and you got people around you. But in general, if you're playing firing range, that middle of the map is no man's land. You kind of want to avoid that completely and your deaths will drop dramatically. So the next map we'll go ahead and look at is Hacienda. And Hacienda, you can see where the spots are laid out as far as the spawns go. And you can see all the little different heat signatures. And you can see the hottest spot is where that stairwell is on the right hand side of the map. You can see kind of where it's all scattered. And you can see pretty much at the bottom of the map as well as the top of the map, or where you're less likely to die. Obviously that bottom route, there's almost no deaths in that section. Not to say you can't die there, but keep in mind that if you're looking to go for a flank, you're looking to come around the enemies that are kind of camping up in the middle, this is the route you generally want to take. You could also go through the water. You can see there's not a lot of deaths happening in the water. So if you want to go that route, you could definitely go that route as well. So this is what it means to kind of play with a purpose. A lot of times people just run around randomly. Obviously, depending on the strength of your lobby, you're going to adjust your play style slightly. Because if you're going against people that are very good, maybe you want to play a little bit more cautious. You're definitely going to want to go for those flanks. If you're playing against people that do not have any gun skill, you could just aggressively charge them, and it doesn't really matter how you attack them because at the end of the day, you're going to win that gunfight if they're not a very good player. So as we look at Militia, you can see that there's 4 general spawn areas: the lower left spawn, the right spawn, the top right, and the top left by that little water tower. And you can see the route that I've highlighted. You can see where a lot of the action is happening. That is the main little building in the middle and that little area in between. Well, as far as the church goes, there's not a lot of deaths there are some, but it's not a lot. And then you got the little areas around the outside where there's not a lot going on. So yet another map that is great to navigate around the outside of the map. You don't want to get kind of stuck up in that middle area. You kind of got to think, how do I get to the other side of the map while not running through the middle? That's pretty much what you got to think, and you're generally going to be fine. Again, the same thing holds true if you're going against good players versus bad players. You may play it a little different. For the most part, this is generally how you want to navigate around the map. Next up is actually going to be Morocco. Morocco is fairly simple. You can see that pretty much all the heat signatures on the right side of the map We have the top spawns, the bottom spawns, and there's a little area on the left that I ideally would recommend walking through. So even though I think this helps a lot with how to navigate the map in general, I think it really helps you to understand how to flank your opponents, especially if you're running Ghost, Dead Silence, Suppressor, whatever the case is to keep you off the mini-map. You're going to be able to navigate around these paths that are less traveled, and you're going to be able to come up behind the enemies, get a couple easy kills, maybe rotate back once the spawns flip, and kind of continue that pattern. Also, just a quick reminder, if you do have any confusion or questions about what I'm talking about, feel free to leave that down in the comments section. I respond to all the comments, I read them all. So if you have any questions, make sure you do leave a comment down below. So now that we've gone through a few of these, I'm pretty sure that you guys are figuring out exactly what's going on as you look at these, and you kind of have a better idea on how you need to navigate the map. When we look at Payload, you can see the two different spawn areas. You can see the area less traveled. You can see where all the heat signatures are happening, and it's pretty much towards the left side, but towards the middle of the map. I'm not sure exactly why it lays out that way and that people don't center around the right side of the map, but that's just pretty much how it works. You can see that if you're in this area, you're more than likely going to die. So there's actually another way to look at this, and if you're looking to go for a high kill gameplays or whatever the case is, what you're going to want to know is where these hotspots are, because that's where the kills are going to happen as well. You just got to know that, hey, if that is the area where most people are going to center themselves, let me figure out what is the most powerful position I can put myself in so I can win more gunfights. And it's always going to be a balance of the risk reward, because obviously if you're chasing the kills, you're going to be more likely to die because that's where most of the deaths happen. It really just going to come down to your skill at that point. So moving on to the next map, which is going to be Arsenal. Obviously there's the other Sandstorm Arsenal. It pretty much lays out the exact same way. You can see how the two different spawns are split, and that's pretty much where everyone spawns. In the top side of the map where it's kind of elevated where people could jump through the window, that part is completely empty. You can die over there because I get an engagement, but more often than not, you can see where all the action's happening. So right here, you can see that the vents are a very strong power position. There aren't any deaths really in the vents, even though you could die in the vents. You can see that pretty much anywhere they have a sight line to, people are dying. So these are things to be aware of. Where are people not dying on the map, and can I use that to my advantage? And that's what power positions are all about. We'll talk a little bit more about that in the next map that we're going to talk about. But like I said, I plan on doing a complete video on that kind of once I've dissected all the different videos along with my personal play experience, so you guys have a better idea on how you can control the map. So right here, when we look at slums, you can see that there's no real flank route, and that's one of the biggest problems with this map. Is even though it's fun, it's a throwback map, I think it's one of the more popular maps when people vote, it is not a great map for flanking. And if you look closely, you can see where a lot of the action's happening. You can see there's kind of a little hole where I put a circle, and that is the middle of the map. And that is generally the area you want to lock down, because if you're peeking that area with multiple people, you can catch people coming out from the left side, or you can catch people coming out from the right side, depending on which side the enemies are spawning in. So in terms of power positions, the middle of the map on slums is the most powerful position. And I've done this when I've broken down some of my subscribers' gameplay, when I've shown off my own specific gameplay and best class setup videos or whatever the case is. This even further proves that that is a power position to me, because you can see there is a little bit of a hole right there where I kind of circled it off. Obviously there's some deaths there, but you can see where a majority of the deaths are happening is pretty much all around that area. They almost make a complete circle. So I wanted to keep it short and simple for you for this first video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please remember to hit that like button. Again, if we can get this video over 1,000 likes, I'd be very appreciative of that. And then if you're brand new to the channel and you'd like to find your way back, make sure you do subscribe with notifications on, ring that bell, and you'll make sure that you get those notifications for all my future videos. I do appreciate all the support on the channel. You guys continue to hit the like button, continue to comment down below, and a lot of you guys that are new to the channel keep subscribing. So thank you for that. Do appreciate the support. Thank you for watching. As always, have a great day.